Welcome to the Google Cloud Update for the week of May 23rd, 2026. I am your host, and we have an absolutely jam-packed show for you today. We have some massive news to share this week. First, we will kick off with AI, data, and analytics, looking at how Gemini Enterprise is evolving with Gemini 3.5 Flash and NotebookLM Enterprise. We will also talk about a groundbreaking semantic aggregation function in BigQuery called AI.AGG, and we will touch on updates to the knowledge catalog and managed service for Apache Spark. In our second segment, we will head over to databases and compute to explore Spanner Graph's new query optimizer, AlloyDB's new integration with ChatGPT, and the brand new App Engine Migration Hub. Finally, we will wrap up with hybrid cloud, networking, and security, covering next-generation certificate management, GKE rollouts, and advanced zero-trust API capabilities in Chronicle SecOps. Whether you are a developer, cloud architect, or security engineer, we've got you covered. Let's dive right in. First up, let's explore the fast-moving world of AI, data, and analytics. Gemini Enterprise has rolled out some major enhancements. Gemini 3.5 Flash is now generally available across global, US, and EU regions. As the new standard Flash model, Gemini 2.5 Flash is officially being retired. Meanwhile, the agent designer now defaults to Gemini 3.1 Pro in the US and global regions for all newly created agents. Google has also automatically migrated older US and global agents to Gemini 3.1 Pro to give you an instant performance boost. If your enterprise needs to pull in external data partnerships, you will be happy to know that Gemini Enterprise now supports a public preview connecting directly to Crossbeam data stores. Over in NotebookLM Enterprise, you can now automatically generate entire slide decks and infographics based on your notebooks, which has reached general availability. However, we do have a bit of bad news for developers. The NotebookLM Enterprise Podcast API is officially deprecated, and Google is no longer listing new customers. I guess they decided to leave podcast hosting to us. To support these Gemini changes, the Gemini Enterprise Agent platform has received updated security permissions. If you are managing access, you will notice new permissions added to roles like roles/AI-platform.rag service agent, roles/AI-platform.reasoning engine service agent, and roles/AI-platform.service agent. These let you safely retrieve retrieval-augmented generation corpora query files and invoke or sanitize input and output templates securely. Let's transition to BigQuery, which has introduced a spectacular preview feature, the AI.AGG function. If you have ever tried to summarize reviews, logs, or unstructured text from thousands of rows using a large language model, you know how painful it can be. Typically, you have to concatenate strings manually and hope you do not exceed the model's context window. AI.AGG is an aggregate function that works alongside GroupBy. You pass in your text or image data and a natural language instruction, and BigQuery's framework automatically handles multi-stage aggregation under the hood, so you do not run out of context window space. But that is not all for BigQuery. Ever worry that a backend database update might silently break your business-critical queries? Well, BigQuery is now proactively and silently re-executing instructions behind the scenes to detect performance, correctness, or functional regressions before they hit your workloads. This has absolutely no side effects, does not consume your resources, and is completely free. If you see BigQuery-adminbot at system.gserviceaccount.com in your data access logs, that is just the helpful admin bot keeping your queries running smoothly. Additionally, Python user-defined functions are now generally available in BigQuery. You can now run scalar Python functions directly inside SQL, import external libraries from PyPy, and access outside APIs using a cloud resource connection. BigQuery Studio has also launched a preview for folder-based remote Git repository integration, so you can manage and version control SQL scripts in notebooks. Finally, BigQuery has made reservation groups generally available, allowing you to prioritize idle slot sharing within high-priority reservation groups before sharing them with other workloads, while a custom organization policy is in preview to help you govern workload management resources. In other data news, the Knowledge Catalog, the new name for Dataplex, has reached general availability for its data products roles. This includes admin, consumer, editor, and viewer roles, making it much easier to govern and share domain-specific data assets securely. To wrap up this segment, the managed service for Apache Spark, formerly known as Dataproc on Compute Engine, has released sub-minor cluster image updates. Pay close attention. The configuration for Spark shuffle partitions has changed from an integer to a string type. If you have been programmatically setting spark.conference.set using an integer literal, like 100, you must update your code to pass a string literal, like 100, to avoid breaking workloads on the latest image versions. Now let's head over to databases and compute. If you are running Spanner Graph, you can now optimize query performance using factorized execution. When traversing complex graphs, queries often generate duplicate intermediate results, which can slow down operations. By adding the factorized mode query hint, Spanner will deduplicate those join keys, drastically reducing redundant work. This is incredibly helpful for heavy many-to-many joins typical in graph traversal scenarios. Over in Bigtable, you can now enable row affinity routing for standard app profiles directly in the Google Cloud Console. This ensures that read and write requests for a specific row are consistently routed to the same cluster to maintain strong consistency. AlloyDB is also seeing some great updates. ChatGPT users can now list and use the AlloyDB toolset provided by the AlloyDB Remote Model Context Protocol, or MCP, server. This is a huge win for developers using AI models to directly interact with database schemas. Plus, the AlloyDB.instances.execute SQL read-only permission has officially reached general availability. If you are running Oracle database at Google Cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Golden Gate is now generally available, enabling you to replicate and transform data between databases seamlessly. Google has also made Autonomous Data Guard generally available for local peer databases. And if you are looking to migrate to the cloud, Google's database migration service now provides dedicated GA support for homogeneous SQL Server migrations from Cloud SQL for SQL Server sources. The service automatically exports backup files and uploads them to a secure cloud storage bucket for you. Moving over to modern application development, the App Engine Migration Hub has launched in preview. If you are still running services in the App Engine standard environment, this hub will help you migrate them over to Cloud Run while giving you smart, cost-saving recommendations along the way. And for your developer workspaces, Cloud Workstations now support resizing persistent directories on the fly without losing any data. The Workstation Service Agent roles have also received new suspend and resume instance permissions to optimize virtual machine runtimes. Finally, we have an exciting update for customer experience developers. Google Cloud Contact Center as a Service version 4.30 has been released. This update introduces a queue status endpoint that provides real-time data on leaf queues, including estimated wait times and agent availability. This allows voice AI systems to dynamically decide whether to escalate a call to a live agent or offer a callback window. It also introduces an option to skip the IVR greeting message, updates HubSpot ticket ownership automatically on call transfers, and fixes several bugs like HubSpot ticket failures, PDF uploads and chats, and live transcription recovery during credit card collection. In our final major segment, let's cover hybrid cloud, networking, security, and storage. For our GKE and hybrid cloud enthusiasts, GKE cluster version updates are rolling out across the rapid, regular, stable, and extended channels. These releases feature updated container-optimized OS images with cumulative security fixes. For those running on premises, Google Distributed Cloud Software Only for VMware has launched its latest release running on Kubernetes version 1.33. This update fixes a few key bugs, including an issue where diagnostics and health checks failed on non-advanced user clusters, and a pre-flight validation bug that threw errors if the ingress VIP was left blank. Also, the managed service for Apache Airflow, formerly known as Cloud Composer, received a small update to its service agent, adding storage feature configurations permissions to help manage storage buckets. In networking, Certificate Manager's second generation is now in preview. This introduces a unified control plane to help you coordinate, automate, and observe your organization's TLS certificates at scale. Our application load balancers also picked up some great features. They now support a traffic duration setting of either SHORT or long, based on how long backends take to respond to HTTP requests. They also support in-flight balancing mode in general availability, which distributes traffic smartly when requests take longer than a second to complete. For internal pass-through network load balancers, zonal affinity is now generally available to ensure traffic stays within the same zone. And website owners can now utilize the Google Tag Gateway for advertisers via a global external application load balancer to route measurement traffic through their own domains, improving tracking accuracy for ad campaigns. If you are deploying Secure Web Proxy, there is a great new preview feature. When deploying it as a next-hop gateway, you can configure it to listen on all ports from 1 to 65,535. This intercepts and secures all outbound traffic without requiring you to maintain tedious port allow lists. And if you are managing VPC network peering, you can now cancel pending deletion requests in consensus mode, which is also in preview. Finally, let's look at security, operations, and NetApp storage. Chronicle, Google's SecOps platform, has made its enhanced data export API generally available. It brings robust improvements like advanced filtering, identity-aware extraction, and customer-managed encryption keys for zero-trust compliance. It also released a huge batch of new parsers for Microsoft Defender, Splunk, and SAP. For compliance, Assured Workload's Japan Data Boundary has GA'd default key access justifications policies. Backup NDR has introduced a protection summary tool at the folder and org levels to find data protection gaps. Security Command Center now offers Artifact Guard in preview for enterprise and premium tiers, helping block vulnerable packages throughout the software development lifecycle. Lastly, NetApp Volumes Flex Unified Service Level has expanded GA regions and added volume replication features across all protocols. Config to Nectar has also updated to version 1.151.0, adding new alpha resources like Cloud Deploy Automation, Compute Future Reservation, GKE Hub Membership, and the Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform Data Labeling job. It also introduces automated backup configurations and cross-instance replication configuration fields for memory store instances. And that is a wrap for this week's Google Cloud Update. We have covered a massive amount of ground today. It's clear that Google Cloud is continuing to integrate Gemini deep into its core analytics products, making data-driven AI tasks more seamless than ever with features like AI.AGG. At the same time, critical database, container, and security updates are keeping enterprise environments highly performant and secure. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you found this update useful, make sure to subscribe and share it with your fellow cloud engineers. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you next time for another dose of Google Cloud news.